How's it going, guys? This is Blake Black here with Black Widow Pest Specialists. So I'm here today to talk about OcuTraps. For those of you that don't know me or don't know anything about me, I've been trapping in the industry for about 11 years now. Started in pest control, moved into more wildlife stuff, but have been doing both for at least 8 or 9 of the years that I've been in this industry. So when I first heard about these traps, I kind of thought they were a little bit silly. I thought it was a cool concept, but I didn't know that it was going to be something that made sense for us specifically as trappers, right? Just like anything else, you see these new designs, new things, and you're kind of uncertain about it. And my exact thought was, that'd be cool for a homeowner, but it really doesn't make sense for us. And honestly, I was wrong. And gratefully, I was wrong. So I come today to talk about a couple of different things and ways that I think these are really cool that can be used maybe a way that you didn't think about. What I found is, just like anything else, it's not going to replace all your traps, right? It's not meant to. Just like a conibear, for instance, right? It's not going to replace a squirrel trap or a rat trap, but there is a time and place for it. It makes sense to use it in certain cases and not in other cases. So for these specifically, having a camera on it is cool. My initial thought was, it's not going to replace my Tacticam or my Arlo Go or whatever else, right? But again, it's not meant to. That was kind of closed-minded thinking. So basically what I found is it's a good backup, right? Having the camera on there is a good backup to have in case your camera dies, in case you forget to put batteries in it, in case it gets knocked over or whatever. In case somebody outsmarts it. Sometimes there's those customers that throw something over the cage and try to take it, right? We've all run into those cases where we actually have to pull your traps from a job because a customer decides they want to tamper with them and mess with them, which make sure you put that in your agreement, by the way, that if somebody messes with it, you get to pull, no refund. Trust me. Anyway, this is great in a lot of different settings, one of which being like an urban setting. If you're trapping where you have a lot of cats in the area, right? Or the customer doesn't listen, they have a really tiny dog and happen to let them out in the backyard, and all of a sudden your trapping job goes kaputs when they want you to come back in the middle of the night to let their dog out because they weren't paying attention to where the dog was, they didn't listen, they didn't do what they said they were going to do and put it on a leash because it was 2 in the morning and they got lazy or whatever, right? Ask me how I know. Anyway, it's really cool that you could open and close this remotely. It's really cool that it has a camera on it. It's really cool that it also has the trap door. So I have a couple of these traps today. I'm gonna unbox them, talk a little bit about them, talk about what I like and don't like after trying them and playing with them and whatever else, right? So the OcuTrap has been great so far. Again, I haven't used it a crazy amount. I've used it a good handful of times. But I look forward to using these more, especially we are in birthing season right now, so it's kind of peak time to use it for what I'd like to use it for. God, I can't get the box open. Do a great job packaging these things, I'll tell you that. So this is how she comes. You got your handle here, so you pick it up easily, right? This is going to be your back trap door, which apparently I got to cut all these things out. That kind of makes sense. They do a good job putting this thing all together so that it doesn't move around during shipping, but you have your main arm, right? And I can go grab a trap and pull it apart and talk about it in a minute, but you have your main arm, which is going to open and close it here. Your door that gets assembled here. And then you have your starter kit, which is going to be your battery, your charger, your manual, and etc. So I like this trap a lot for what it's designed for. Again, it's going to be a tool for your truck or for your shop or for your whatever, right, that you can throw on the truck when you need it. It's not going to replace all your cage traps. It's not meant to. I hear you, I'm not spending this much money on this. Fine, then don't, right? It's one of those things, it's not for everybody. But for most of the people like me that, really like the new innovations that are coming to this industry and really like the new designs and the new things, I love stuff like this. I love trying them. I love to see how it goes. And I have, as you can see here, I don't know the camera, I don't know if it'll follow me or not. If I come down, boom. Okay, so I have 2 more here, 3, right? And I own one already, so I have 4 total. What I've found is It's just a really good tool for your toolbox, right? Again, it is not meant for every situation, but my favorite personal situations that I used it for, raccoons that are hypersensitive to things like raccoons that have been caught and released, even though it's not legal in my state. Some states it is. Animals in general that have been caught and released, right? They get really, really smart to the pan that's on most of our cages, right? I really like Comstock traps a lot. I use them an awful lot. So the double door cages or single door, but either way, the triggers are in the middle. Even that, they get really sensitive to it. Some animals are very, very intelligent, especially if you have like a mother with young that are there, right? She's going to be really, really cautious, really, really careful. A lot of us that try to outsmart her, we might put insulation on the bottom. We might put a couple different things to try to not let her feel that bottom of the cage, but she might be really cautious of what she steps over. Also, something to think about, they'll reach, right? If they have that cage on the bottom, or that pan on the bottom rather, they'll reach up and over it. So the reason I like this is because it has a sensor. So the sensor, you could set your depth, right, of how deep in it goes. So it could be inches or, you know, a foot, foot and a half, whatever, from how far it is from the sensor. The sensor would get installed right here as the back part here. Which I could stop the video in a minute and just restart it once I have it assembled, or once I have the other one here. I'll probably just assemble one of the new ones just so you could see. But long and the short of it is, it's nice to have the option to have the sensor there, because it's something the animal doesn't have to reach past or have to push past or push through, or you don't have to rely on that one intelligent raccoon that reaches over and grabs the food, because they have hands, right? They're not just leaning over or walking over in every case. A lot of cases they're actually grabbing things and pulling it. So the sensor is a really, really nice touch that works really well. I haven't found any flaws with that at all. We've gone through a couple of the different design things together when I spoke to the owners of the company when I was trying the beta, but actually one of my guys, Jonathan, who's super, super sharp, gave them a different idea for this rear release door, which I absolutely love. I thought it was a great concept, great idea, and absolutely great addition to the trap, and I'm pretty confident, don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty confident that was his idea that he threw to them, because only having the door that operates via phone kind of sucks a little bit, to be honest, but adding that to it really, really helped this design to be even better in my opinion. So I'll pause the video for a minute and set this up and then come right back to you. Decided that I'm gonna set this up on camera. So I got all the parts pulled apart, and we have user manual, installation and user manual. It seems pretty straightforward, but I never read instructions ever, and I always screw something up, so I might as well. You know, for the video, you got to, right? Bada boom. We got some instructions. The motor assembly, the pod, which is the camera and circuit board, right here. This fancy, beautiful thing. This is actually upgraded from the last version, which I like a lot better. It seems a lot more user-friendly, in my opinion. I was part of the beta test, so we had like some flaws that we worked through and some different things. So I took this already and put this through just to make it a little bit easier and skip a step. This is going to be a pin, cotter pin that holds your motor. The back here is your wire that goes through. Don't try that at home. So I just let it drop. You probably shouldn't do that. Fun fact. This is the bar that goes through that I already just accidentally pulled apart. The bar that goes through here on both sides holds your door closed. This is going to attach to your door, which is going to be what opens and closes your door. See how it pivots back and forth? It's so when it closes, it could reclose and then lock itself into place, which is actually a really cool function. But anywho, so let's get this guy assembled. Looks like we do. Nope. See that? That's why we check the instructions. You do a washer, and then a spring, right? And then one of these guys, these dicky doo-dahs, which is a little nut. And then it looks like this goes over the top, which is pretty cool. Then we do the same thing to the other side. All right, now that we got both those on, figure out where I put the rest of the parts. Got the other pin and cotter pin. And I have the app open already. So this is the trap that I currently have, which I will be showing you in a moment how to connect that and try to figure out if I can remember how to do that, because it's been a while since we connected it. So you're going to bring this guy up. I might have to pull this out a little bit. I don't know if it'll let me do that. Oh boy. This is going to be another example of why Blake should read the instructions part, whatever part this is going to be. Alright, so we got that one on too. Got the cotter pin on. Now it's attached. Alright, now we're going to add our back door. Oh. Looks like I forgot to take that part off. This is actually the rod that I took from the other trap, because I have a bunch of these traps here. I'm going to go down here so you can see this, because it follows my face. See these? More, right? Cool. Good talk. We're going to put this guy in here. There we go. Nice tight fit. Very nice. And your safety that goes across here. Cool. This is a second handle on here for those heavy animals. We all know how that goes. This is going to go through that and underneath that handle and attach right here to your attachment point. And then this thing here contains your camera and your sensor for the trap as well. So I got a battery here. I'm not sure if it comes charged up or not, but I actually have a charged up battery if not. So the nice thing about this, another issue that I had with this trap that was absolutely user error, right? Full transparency, I make plenty of mistakes. I talk about it all the time. I just assume things. Stupid. So I thought you had to carry this trap to wherever you wanted to charge it and plug it in. And I was like, what a dumb effing idea. Why would you ever bring a trap inside somewhere, whether it's a shop or a basement or whatever? Like, this is our shop, right? It's not beautiful, but it works, right? I'm like, why am I going to bring a stinky cage, even if I sanitize it first? Why am I going to bring it into a shop? Dumb concept. But fun fact, user error. Battery removes, okay? So you have two different connection points here. This is one connection point. This is the other. This is your charger. This connects it to the trap. So you can charge it that way, plugged in, right? If you have a shop space where you keep your traps. All of ours stay outside for very obvious reasons. But neither here nor there. If you have a shop space you bring it into, you could absolutely charge it inside, but it's always going to be more convenient, in my honest opinion, to separate them. So again, charger there. Battery goes in. I'll flip this guy around. Looks like they actually have a really nice little inlet here for it now with the 3D printer that they printed. These are really good quality traps. They do a great job building them, honestly. I really am a fan of them. So we have that thing flashing, which again, remember, everything correlates right here. It shows connection mode is what it's flashing for. Connecting to the cloud. So first that is connect to the cloud, okay? Then we have like firmware updates, looking for internet, red flash SOS, reset, error, please charge battery, battery low. So they have all these that correlate with the color light on here. So it's like very user friendly. If you see it flash, literally just open your eyes and look at this thing. It's going to tell you exactly what you want to know. There's nothing worse than having those times where something just starts flashing. You're like, I don't know what this does. And you got to jump on the internet and try to find it for 10 minutes. But they have this really nice, clean little chart right here that tells you everything. So I'm going to pull up the OcuTrap app and see how this goes. So it looks like it's all set up here. It says that it's opened, right? So I'm going to go ahead and close this up. And again, this is a watertight seal. I actually saw a really cool video of one of these OcuTraps that was still online after going through a flood, and it was one of the craziest things I've seen. Literally, some dude went and found it with a paddle and pulled it up and it was still working. He opened the door and it was on. Thank God there was no animals in it. He closed it remotely. And that's also another cool thought. When you have like inclement weather and you can't get there in time, or God forbid, like something happens or there's an emergency and you can't go check your trap and nobody else can. You know, I was a solo operator for a while first before I started hiring employees, as everybody does. And I'll tell you what, there's been a couple times where I was in a bind, man. If I didn't have good friends that were also nucos that I could trust or rely on to like get me out of a bind, like, hey man, there's no way I'm going to be able to get there by the time it's like, whatever, that 24-hour period, like my state requires you go every 24 hours and, you mismanage your time. So when it's like, a couple hours before that, luckily they got me out of a bind. But if you ever run into a situation where there's an emergency and you can't get there and you have to release the animal, or you catch a non-target, or like a skunk, right? Everybody's afraid of skunks. And until like 2 years ago, I didn't know why, but I got sprayed in the face 2 years ago by a skunk. Just god awful. Don't ask. Really bad case. But one of those things, you catch a non-target like a skunk and the customer's like, oh, I don't care, whatever. Open the trap right up, right? You're trapping raccoons and you find a skunk in there. Just saying. Anyway, so we have the options here. It shows with the other trap, right? Well, it's clearly following my face, so I have to bring the iPad to my face, not my face to the iPad. Anyway, so we're going to arm it, right? That's all you have to do is press arm, and it'll basically arm the trap. It's going to take a minute because my service is absolutely atrocious, because it always is. So now it'll tell you if it's armed, right? So now it's saying armed. So if something were to go to that sensor, and we're going to check our settings first, which you always should do before you arm anything, so I really shouldn't have even done that. You're going to basically go through and set whatever your parameters are. So one of the things it asks you is for error messages or alerts or captures. You're basically going to go through and set all that up now. So your trigger distance is set to 8 inches, which is like pretty standard. That makes sense to me. 8 inches away. I would probably have it somewhere. I think 8 inches is probably fine. If you're trapping smaller animals, maybe a foot, maybe a little bit more, but I think 8 inches is probably pretty solid. Depending on where you're putting your bait, that tracks. So I'm going to keep it for 8 inches. Image size, medium, large, extra, which is slower, and small, which is faster. So again, depends on what you're looking for. If you also have a camera on the job, and you're not relying on this, you could just go with a small image. It doesn't have to be anything perfect, because then it's really quick. So just for the sake of it, we'll go to small because it's faster. Error messages, right? We're going to do push notifications, so we could tell alert, push notifications, capture, push notifications, right? And you could set it to email, or you could set it to just give you a push notification in the app, as long as that's set up that way. Or you could set it to none, whatever your preference is. If you don't want to know what you catch, then set it to none, but that kind of defeats the whole purpose, Anyway, so now your settings are all set. There's no save feature, which is great. I actually really like that because everyone forgets to save everything all the time. Okay, so once again, the OcuTrap surprises me. So I'm just doing a closeout video here, and I had to separate days that I did this because, of course, as you all know, life gets super busy. Why wouldn't it, right? Especially if you mismanage your time. Fun fact. So I'm just going to restart the video, and the freaking thing's full of water. I don't know how. The gasket wasn't secured right or something, but I'm going, that's great. My other two traps are out on a job right now, and this one is about to be broken. Well, just changed out the battery. It's not broken. These things, once again, impress the hell out of me. So it says it is connecting to the cloud right now. It's getting ready to work for us. I'm going to show you a little test of them. So where I left off last time, I was basically talking about the functions of this trap and what I liked and didn't like about it. So the more I use it, honestly, the more I like it. I can't really find a whole heck of a lot wrong with it that I don't like, but if I had to be hypercritical and think of anything, I would say the fact that there's a subscription. but it is what it is. You have to pay to play. If you're gonna use any of these things, any cameras, any Tacticams, Arlos, Reveals, whatever it is that you use, Muddies, I know those are getting more popular now. There's a bunch of different cameras in the industry that everybody's using, and you pay a subscription fee regardless. So it is what it is. Just like your camera is just like anything else. As long as you're using it, it's paying for itself. But if I were to be hypercritical and say something I didn't like, it would be that. Outside of that, I haven't really found very many flaws with this. In the beta phase, maybe. But at this stage, they've gone through so many different tests, so many different developments, and so many different really go-arounds with this product. So there's really not much wrong with it. Like I said, I just had an issue now with it that it was somehow, there was some issue with one of the gaskets, and I don't know if it was just like not secured properly or what, but there was some water in here, and even with the battery case having water in it, it still functions perfectly. So as you see here, this is our case, right? This had some water in it, so I just changed out the battery, and it's still now connecting to the cloud. So I'm gonna wait a minute, let it finish connecting, and I'll show you functionality, how it works. It's cool that you could do everything remotely on it. You could open it, you can close it as such. If you saw that double locking feature, the thing I like about that is there was an issue where initially, and again I say issue initially because when you're going through the beta phase, you're gonna have problems just like anything else. So this is one I've only used maybe a couple of times, and it was more so in the back while I was testing this newer version. In the back meaning like where I'm storing my traps. So this one hasn't even been out in the field, this one specifically. So I feel comfortable touching it with my hands. Outside of that, like, we sanitize everything. Ordinarily, I would never ever touch a cage with my hands if an animal has been in it, especially multiple times, but I was just toying with it in the back. I don't even think an animal's been in here, but it's been sanitized anyway. So right here in this initial part, it wasn't closing right. So the double close that you saw was it closing and then locking itself into place. So now it's secure, it's not going anywhere, nothing's getting out of it. All right, lastly, what I wanted to do was show a little bit of opening and closing of this. Again, my service is not very good out here, so bear with me. There's always a slight delay, especially if your service is poor. I'm gonna bring this to my face so you can see it. So we're gonna hit the open button. All right, so you could see you could open this remotely. So I've literally been sitting on my couch, about to go to bed for the night, checking my traps, see a possum in this trap when I was trapping raccoons, right? What's the value of that? Well, a mother raccoon especially, she was super, super sensitive. It looks like she literally had been caught before because she was like very hesitant to go anywhere near any of these cages. I had 2 cages set with the OcuTraps right by the area she was going up. It would be even more effective if I was going into the attic, but I really don't like trapping live animals inside of a house, inside of a structure. We all know that they're super destructive. So long story short, I had 2 traps there, and I could see a possum in there. And they have this other really cool feature, which is vibrate. So you could literally remotely press the vibrate button and make it go bzz, 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 to just spook that animal to start to push it out of the cage, which is super, super cool. Because possums, as we all know, take a little bit longer to leave cages. So I was able to open it remotely, seeing it on the camera, seeing it on the OcuTrap, and I opened it. The thing just sat there. I'm like, you know, right? I've also had this where you have both of them open now. The animal goes, well, that's a safe place to go. Goes right into the other cage. So before I opened this one, I closed the other one, so it didn't do that. I opened this one, and I just vibrated a couple times, and the thing just finally, like, after about 3 to 5 vibrates, finally moves on. Close it back up, wait 10 minutes, open them both back up, catch the raccoon that night. Right? Now, I've had the same case where I caught a possum in a different trap, and mother raccoon, exact same trap set, right? Mother raccoon goes over, and she gets super detoured by this possum and just like doesn't want anything to do with it, gets spooked and leaves, right? So there's a lot of value to having these, and now I'm not suggesting that you should watch your traps. What I am suggesting is it's a great tool to add to your toolbox, and if you do have the time to do things like that, and you do have a specialized situation, it works like a charm. The more I use them, the more I like them. I've really enjoyed this product. It's not perfect by any means, but what is, right? In the trapping world especially, there's so many different things that that we find that are just flawed, right? Especially with our traps, that they start to bend, they start to break over time. I've used these for, I don't know, a handful of months now, and what I've seen is, especially the build out of this cage, the way that it's framed out, it's lightweight enough, especially with all that's done to it. You would think it's a lot heavier than it is. It's stable, it's reliable, and it's been good to us so far. So I really don't have any complaints other than, like I said, the water this time. I don't know what that's about, but we'll figure that out. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope that you've enjoyed watching this video. I hope that you guys enjoy these OcuTraps as much as I do and as much as I have. I'm really excited to see how far along they've come and really to see where the future is going to be for these traps. I can't wait to see more innovative things like this come to the industry. So these things, again, if I have to give an honest rating, like, I'd call it a 10 out of 10 for right now. When it started, maybe a little less, but again, we all have to start somewhere, right? It's not going to be perfect when it starts. So I'm excited to see what new things they have to bring to market. I have some different ideas for them that I'm excited to see if they bring to life, right? We'll keep that on the DL for right now. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and close up this video, and we're going to wrap up there. I appreciate your time. I'm glad you guys stopped by, and I hope you guys enjoy these things just as much as I have. Bye.